This is Luis Alberto Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. Delighted for the first time to be joined with Jamie Conlan. We've not got Matt, we've not got Charlie, so you've got me.
Oh, the best looking one of the bunch. I thought we were getting Chucky, but yeah, nice to have you, Luis.
Pleasure to be here. My first time in Belfast, my first time going to Falls Park. A lot of people talk about how special it is, especially from the sort of Northern Ireland area. So it must be special to have this come around again, another really, really special event.
Incorporating boxing into the Field Festival in the Falls Park was something that we were very proud in because we are from the area. It's a community festival. It's something that we've been going to since we were kids because it was right on our doorstep, and then now that we've been able to bring big boxing, and first year we kicked off at BT Sport and ESPN, and we've kind of continued that, and now we're trying to progress the next talent coming through. It's something that's, you know, a bit of a passion project for me and Michael to do, because we are giving lads from our own community a platform to really showcase their talents to their own people. So it's good. And this one being downsized from, we done I think 12,000 the first year, about 8,500 to 10,000 the second year because it was COVID, and now downsizing to 3,500, 4,000. We are, showing that we're able to move it and manoeuvre it regardless of who's going to be headlining.
Is this sort of a bit gutting that it's not Mick this time? Is it sort of a bit bittersweet?
Yeah, it is. No, because we had planned last year for 15,000 for Michael. Brexit had really kicked up prices. A lot of the shipping, a lot of the building, a lot of the work that was coming across to do the build on the seats for tiered seating was just extortionate, and we ended up, because we done 10,000 at a canter against Miguel Mariaga in August of last year, and I genuinely believe we done 15,000, 16,000, which we got approval for from the council, and it just became too costly in the end. It wasn't making any sense whatsoever to do it this year. It seems to be a bit more settled, and we kind of found a bit of a way to make it work, and that was always what we were setting out. If we can make it work, we will make it happen, and going forward that's always our goal regarding working with the field.
Although it's not Mick, but another massive opportunity for Pody McCrory, who's earned his way to the spot at the top of the tree, at the top of this card. As I said, big opportunity for him on Friday night. Massive.
He's came through the hard way, and should be like a beacon for fighters who are on the small hall scene, who are coming through without a big fanfare, who are coming through building their profile on the local cards, having to sell tickets to make money, pay for opponents, all that there. Harry kind of performed and showcased himself and handled himself and provided for himself opportunities to get to the stage in just a short space of time. He turned pro at 35. He's on the cusp of a world title fight in his hometown, fighting against a real tough fighter. I think it's a great trade fight, him and Steed Woodall. Number 4 in the world with the WBA. We were talking to Matchroom about Berlanga in Madison Square Garden. I still think that could be an opportunity for Puerto Rico towards the end of the year. I like the fight against Quigley in a big All-Irish fight, which both have big big WBA rankings. Stuff like that is really at his fingertips, but first and foremost, this fight is his toughest test to date. It's cliche because we all say it, to try and sell a fight, don't need to. This fight's really tough. Steve Woodall can punch. He's got great amateur pedigree, and he's here to win.
And with someone like Pody, like I said there, he's had it the hard way. Do you feel like in a way where he's only just starting to get the respect he deserves now for a long couple of years, being the away fighter, having to take risks, you sort of disrespected in a way?
Definitely. But he had to change his mentality from being an opportunistic, I don't have much on, so I'll take a chance at the last second, because there was a night before a fight, him and another undefeated, they fought for a Commonwealth Games eliminator here in Ulster against Sean McGlinchey, who was a Commonwealth Games bronze medalist. He won the fight as an amateur and went on. Both these two guys took a fight at 24 hours notice when their opponents fell through in the Titanic Centre one time. He's always been that way, but now he's more to lose than to gain. And in this situation, most definitely more to lose than to gain, because he understands what he is gaining could potentially be world title fights. So everyone now sees him as someone to knock off the perch and get back off him, claim off him on the ladder. So he's now getting the respect, but also he's getting the limelight and getting the eyeballs. Everyone sees him, picking holes in him, and they're looking to fight him now. So it's worrying to an extent, because I start to see they are looking at him differently and him as an opportunity and fresh meat. So it's something that he's handling pretty well to this extent.
Is it also good to showcase the more Irish talent that comes through on this card? Guys like Lewis Crocker, Kurt Walker, Kieran Malloy, the list can go on for so many good. Sean McComb, the list can go on. So is it good to show all that Irish talent that's coming through?
Yeah, most definitely. From an Irish talent perspective, with the Fela, we started, I say, with 12,000, and then during COVID again, we kind of spoke about how we build the next conveyor belt talent coming through. And Pody and Sean were obviously first and foremost, and Tyrone McKenna being from the area also. But it's saying giving the guys on the undercard fights, profile, limelight, spotlight to really build on their career for next year. For next year, if Michael isn't heading, if Pody isn't heading, and Sean and Tyrone, it could be a Crocker, it could be a Fergus Quinn, it could be a Conor Quinn, someone really stepping into the shoes, a Kurt Walker, Kieran Malloy, and able to carry the baton.
And where you see so much the rise of Irish boxing, the way you see how far it's come from when you were boxing, how special is it now in this time period that we're in, where it's really, really kicking on, and there's really good times around the corner, and if not, there's already been really good times.
When I was boxing, it was like when you were waiting on a bus all year and two buses would come at the one time. We didn't really have a local boxing scene. We didn't really have an opportunity to progress our careers. Matchroom and Queensberry or Frank Warren would have come in with Paul McCluskey or a Martin Rogan, and everyone would have vied to get on the undercarder, but then you would also get mixed against their prospects, and you wouldn't really give an opportunity to progress your own career. Whereas now you have a scene, you have the likes of Mark Dunlap, ourselves, you have Sheer Sports, people building Irish boxing underneath till the big fights come, till Katie Taylor comes, till ourselves and Michael come, and we bring the BT Sport and the Zone and all the big networks that come over here. So it gives us all an opportunity to progress Irish boxing, and I still think this conveyor belt of talent, we still haven't seen the best yet.
100%, definitely. Well, we'll sort of move on a little bit. We'll talk about what happened this weekend in America. Terence Crawford defeating Errol Spence Jr. I just wanted your reaction to the incredible performance from Terence Crawford.
We've been lucky enough to get to see him up close a lot when he was with Top Rank and Michael was fighting on his undercards. And he is special. His ability to adapt on the fly has always been something I'd say very few fighters can do, and he's just got everything. He can fight orthodox, he can fight. So he's not a natural southpaw, and he just fought Spence as a southpaw. And Harry went about his business, and I'm delighted to see that he's now getting the recognition that you could see throughout, and probably wasn't getting that. He wasn't commercially viable. He pushed away a lot of the commercial stuff when he was with Top Rank and ESPN, and wasn't really doing and fulfilling his obligations and maybe showing his true personality. And I think it's came through, and he's a superstar now. And the risk on both of the guys taking that fight, it created something bigger than themselves and bigger than boxing. They have now transcended into a new realm kind of thing. So you've crossed that divide. You have the superstars all coming out. You have the NFL, the NBA, the other kind of rappers, Eminem walking them out. That's a different level, and few fighters get to reach that level.
And when we see massive fights like this, like we've seen with Tank Garcia, we see with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, the whole week, this, even if you aren't promoting the fight, everyone wins and it all brings momentum. So is it good to see the momentum carries through even if you're not promoting the fight?
We're in unison as a boxing community, because we are a niche sport, whether we think it or not. We are a niche sport. But when you see a fight like that, it transcends into a big sport. We become main focus in the sports networks, in non-sports networks. It's really reached out. The papers get it, the podcast, the social media, the TV, everyone kind of, he breaks the commercial stigma that boxing has, and that's what we need. The more fights like that. And we've been lucky this year. We've seen a few stars come through who can transcend the sport. And Luis at the later weights has always been campaigning at a level beyond what the recognition of smaller guys get. Tank and Ryan Garcia was a fantastic fight, and fantastic because I think Ryan already commercially is massive and brings a different demographic to the sport, and Tank is just a hard motherfucker. So it's been brilliant, and long may it continue. It's again making the political divide go away and making the fights happen is what's needed for boxing.
Definitely, we'll touch on another fight that does have implications for Mick. We saw yesterday the announcement of Josh Warrington trying to bid to become a 3-time world champion against Leigh Wood. Just your thoughts on that fight and the implications that it potentially could have for someone like Mick going forward.
I think the winner does move up to super feather, and I think Matchroom, I think Cordina also needs that, as the winner will be able to generate a stadium fight. Most likely in either Leeds or City Ground. I think they're the bigger pull than Cordina. Doesn't mean that they're the better fighter, but they are the bigger pull. It's a fantastic fight. Both guys can be confident within themselves. Warrington has always probably looked down a bit on Wood, who has been beneath him and has been calling them out and nipping at his heels, but now Wood is in the driving seat. He is looking down on Warrington. So momentum potentially on Wood's side, but probably long-term momentum or confidence maybe from Josh's side. It's really intriguing. I think the fight can go various different ways, but I do think Wood is the favourite going into the fight, just because he has that big momentum. Harry came back and Harry handled himself and overcame Lara the second time, was a great testament to him and his will, but that's never been in doubt. Warrington is really tough, and Harry performed against Lopez after seeing Lopez up front, albeit Lopez's confidence was a lot different becoming world champion. Harry handled himself against Lopez, shows me that there's a lot left in the tank for Josh Warrington, and people probably think there isn't. So you just never know. He could get old overnight. He is a lot older. He's been a lot of tough fights, and he's been at the pinnacle for a long time. So I think it's a real tough fight, real clash of styles. Warrington's tough. He'll make it scrappy, he'll make it dirty, he'll make it try to get on Wood's chest, but Wood's power is legit. He'll try and box and counter and box for a distance, I think, for the first 6 rounds, and then putting his punches together, hitting them down to the body and breaking them down over a distance will probably be his key.
And I saw a tweet literally just before I interviewed him. It was going through sort of in the featherweight division, everyone fighting everyone. Obviously, Mick's a part of that as well. So, how good is that we see featherweight division that is one of the most hottest divisions on the world level now, where everyone's fighting everyone? Oh,
it's amazing, and all fighters are willing to do it. But I think in Britain and Ireland, we are in a unique position, as in you have Leigh Wood, Josh Warrington, and Michael Conlan. Regardless who they're fighting, if they were fighting in their home city, they'll do 10,000. And that's regardless who the opponent is. They don't need a fight to sell to the public. The people come and watch them. And that is very, very unique because of as we talked about earlier, the niche sport that boxing is. But they have this real cult fan base that will follow and grow and get bigger. So the Featherweight Division is thriving. It's a real tough division. I perceive Stephen Fulton coming up into it now as well. And I know he talked about it previously, Figueroa in the States. You have Lopez, you have Robesi. It's stacked. It really is stacked. And then the Uzbek, Komatov, Ray Ford. But even just on a local scene, Jazza Dickens. We have good fighters here. Nathaniel Collins coming through. Real good fighters.
And now just touching on Mick there. After the Lopez fight, how careful do you think it now that it's about making the right steps for his career going forward and making the right decisions? Do you think he's more careful than ever?
I think so. Listen, I think the fight to Leigh Wood was really tough to overcome, but he took, I think, the hardest risk and the biggest fight of his career next in Miguel Mariaga, and how he handled that was exceptional, because that was jumping out of the kitchen and getting straight back into a boiling pot. Mariaga, heavy-handed, you'd just been knocked out, and Mariaga, who's renowned for punching hard, is right in front of you and swinging from the first round to the last round. So his ability to bounce back has always been unique, and Harry kind of overcomes obstacles in front of him. But I think right now we need to be strategically very, very astute and maybe take a step back and really assess the land and assess the situation. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at December time. We have various different options. We have Belfast booked, but we've also got options of going abroad and doing a co-main event, and coming down a bit. And yeah, we're looking at all kind of aspects of the game right now and seeing what's in front of us.
And I done an interview with Mick last Friday, and he was talking to me about him. He sort of, after the Lopez fight, he hadn't really sort of thought about boxing. He looked at his sort of launching his new beer, lager. Is that what he sort of needed? Do you think that's needed to just sort of take some time away and not even have it in your mind?
Yeah, on the Monday after the fight, he booked in for a marathon, I think Berlin Marathon, which is coming up. And that was kind of he just wanted to distract himself and take himself away from boxing. And it was needed. It was I think he put a lot of pressure on himself to really perform and to really, he was putting himself really out there that he needed to win more than anything against Lopez, and not really, it wasn't a real true justification of him and where he was in his career and in his life, and it wasn't really needed to be that much pressure. And taking himself away from boxing, obviously Le Gras launched last night and launched in Ibiza the other month, and it was something that it's been a passion project of his to kind of do, and it was really, really good because he was refreshed. He didn't talk about boxing. We didn't talk about boxing. He comes to my house on a Sunday, him and his kids, and no boxing is being talked, and that is something that we haven't had since we're kids. So it's needed. It was really needed.
Jamie, I know I've taken a lot of your time, so it's good to chat to you, and I appreciate the invite. I appreciate being in Belfast, so I'm looking forward to Friday night, and I'm looking forward to what's...
Just don't do what Matt does and don't do what Parsons does and spend all day in the Hart bar here in Belfast.
I don't really drink, mate, so you won't be worrying about that. Jamie, thank you for your time, mate.
They are, and I can see the professionalism in your approach. Good man.
Thank you, mate. Cheers, top man.